Hi all, welcome to another chess24 Banter Blitz. Okay, I just want to show you the discount code screen to start off with. You can get a 15% off discount if you use the voucher code KINGS, as in Kings plural, Crusher. So use my voucher code, 15% off. There's some fantastic tournament coverage all the time, but in particular the British Chess Championships, for example, is fantastically covered by the site, and that's coming up soon. And you can chat with other people as well and analyze very easily all the game positions, etc. So if you want to check that out and become a premium member to use all the premium features, as well as challenge streamers like myself and others. So let's go to the challenge screen now. And I hope the audio and visual is okay. There was a new version of XSplit I'm using. So I just want to ask that question, is audio visual okay, before proceeding. I've tried to do an innovation from last week. I only covered 2 Leela chess games instead of 3. I think I was a bit brain fried. I'm still a little bit brain hot, but not too fried, I hope. So let's check the challenges now, and I'm going to try and use some of the strategies which my new virtual coach has been teaching me. So I hope to be able to use some of them anyway. So let's see. Let's try the English opening against Fuchs-Rudel. Okay, so knight c3, trying to control that d5 square. Eyeing f2. I better not do a pre-move because queen f6 could be the next move. Gotta be careful. Not doing any pre-moves. Pre-moves are highly risky, generally. So I'm hoping here I can play for knight g2 for d4. Now if bishop e6, that actually wins a piece. d4, d5 would win a piece. It's a common trap to be aware of. You can't play bishop e6 because there's d4, d5. It's tempting because there's queen e7, bishop h3. You might want to exchange off this guy, but d4, it runs into d4, d5, I believe, in this particular position. So this is a trap worth knowing about. It's not a trap I've featured on my channel yet. Actually, maybe I should after this game later today or at some point. When I've got some energy for videos. Okay, outside of what I'm doing at the moment, which is a bit mind-blowing, as I say. I just feel right now, in the last few weeks, I've been exposed to a continuation of Irving Chernev's most instructive games of chess, because I've been seeing games with a lot of very powerful strategic ideas, which basically can overcome incremental depth search, which is very, very important ideas to be aware of for any over-the-board player, to be able to play intuitive patterns which have great potential, like, connected passed pawns, is a huge asset to have as a calculation aid, to be able to quickly check out promising stuff. So I believe that intuition that you can get from books like Chernev is very important, just to be able to quickly evaluate positions, maybe a little bit better, more dynamically, than what the small sampling of when you calculate variations gives you. Is often not very far-seeing. So if you can have these patterns in mind, and I've been loading up on them. Basically, I feel I've been loading up on these big strategic patterns recently. So that's okay. There might be a sack on g4. So let's see, queen c2 and rook d1. I mean, one such pattern, for example, big knight on d5, which is unentrenchable, was used in at least two or three, maybe even more games in that book, where the structurally, if you can get a nice entrenched knight, sometimes your attacks can play themselves, and sometimes a strong players have sacrificed the pawn to invoke that kind of strategic theme because they know it's going to yield dividends. So they aim for these positions with these big strategic themes, and it does pay the dividends after, and it sort of transcends calculation. For me, that's been one of the big things, which I think is inspirational. That kind of thing, as opposed to a book which might emphasize concrete technical variations. For example, Fisher's 60 Memorable Game book had a lot of variations, I think, by Larry Evans as well, with the quotations and stuff. But it's a bit too much, because sometimes you just want to be aware of the big strategic themes, So I think that's really useful. So okay, so here's c takes. Let's have a look at this. The queen's there on b7, which doesn't look right because the bishop there. Do I undouble the pawns? Or play knight a4? There's quite tempting alternatives here. Knight a4 also seems tempting. You know, knight a4 doesn't weaken e2 fatally yet because there's knight on g3. So if I ever played bishop f6 and knight h5, this would be dangerous. I'm tempted for knight a4 as opposed to cd. I'm assuming that rook e2 is not possible or coming up. So if I can play bishop f6, knight h5, queen b2, that sort of stuff. That looks very, very tempting here. Indeed. Okay, or I can even just close in that bishop. But I think c5, no, c5 loses the queen, so can I just close in that bishop first? Just to make sure this pawn's not pinned, so there's no potential disaster then after rook e2, if that is ever possible, but it's not at the moment. So c5, close in the bishop, bishop f6, knight h5. This all looks very lovely. Lovely. Okay, so bishop f6, knight h5, and queen c3. Looks all very nice. Queen c3 coming up. Rook e2, this thing's been taken out of rook e2 because of queen c3. Queen f6, mating with queen and knight is likely after that. So queen c3 coming up. So queen c3 anyway here, unless there's anything major with queen c1, king h7. I don't think it's worth looking at that. Queen c3 is logical. It's keeping an eye on c5. It's keeping an eye on f6. Queen d8 runs into a pin. Rook d1. Nice pin. Maybe bishop c6 coming up, or just say queen e7 unpinning. I think there's rook d7 and knight f6. Just winning a pawn. And if the queen's really on f6, then it's hitting h6. So queen e7, rook d7, queen d7, knight f6, rook f6, queen f6. Okay, there. Right. Okay, that's intriguing. Can I try? I'll try and double. Maybe. Try and double. Or should I? Or rook d3. Well, there is knight f6 anyway. For rook d7 after rook f6, rook d7. Hitting the queen, that's quite forcing of queen f6. Queen f6, rook f6, rook d7. It's still very promising. It seems as though black's overloaded here. So rook f6, rook d7, queen d7, queen f6. Yeah, it seems as though black's overloaded. Take some water. I think I'll exchange off things with a check. And bishop's still hemmed in. Oh, c6, I guess. Alright, thanks to the game, folks. Okay. Yeah, bear in mind that trap, d4, d5. You can't go into that trap. That's not a nice start position to have. Graph, hi there. As in Steffi Graph. Okay. So, and another German women's player has won Wimbledon now. It's a long time since Steffi Graf. I was watching Wimbledon with great interest. Just, you know, even from the point of view of competitive psychological strategies, looking at Wimbledon tennis, I mean, it's kind of relevant to chess, as as well as football matches, actually, how sides use psychological stuff, or if they need to defend, they need to defend, you know, especially it's like winning on time in a football match. If they can just, like the French, hold out until they can win on time, if they've scored a goal earlier. But, you know, there's a lot of strategies you can get from competitive sports, I believe, which I didn't really take seriously before. I think it started to twig when I had this away match against Wood Green Chess Club, and this guy, Genghis, was saying he got a lot of strategy from football matches, and yeah, I think that's really a cool thing, because psychologically I noticed he was kind of fearless even when playing much higher rated players, and I think he got a lot of that from psychology of competitive sports. And if you look, when I looked at Wimbledon, there is like big determination and massively grueling contests, which I think are analogous to gigantic, you know, long multi-hour chess games. So checking that out, I think it's quite fascinating. So let's see here. Is f5 any good? I'm in trouble. Bishop e6. Do I need to parry this? Bishop c8. I'm going to play rook a7 to e7 later. You can quickly gang out on d6 potentially. Well, say queen f2 to g3. There's not a concern yet. I think my big concern here is bishop e6. I want to get rid of this bishop e6 idea. Exchange off the bishops and try and use that e file. This is a kind of backward pawn. To try and tap into. I can't move the queen because I'm nannying d6 at the moment. So let's say rook c7 to e7. Can I double on the e pawn? As d6 remains an issue here. Queen f2 to g3. I'm worried it could cause congestion here, but there's bishop f8, I guess. All right, not for the moment then. All right, so let's say queen d7. My liability is the d6 pawn. I can never play f5 at the moment. He's got a point here. I don't know what to do. That's kind of locked down, isn't it? Sometimes waiting move. He's moved the pawn. That's committal, you know. It's committal decision to move pawn. Let's just wait around for a moment. Oh, this is a bit poxy, but I don't know. I want to see what he's doing. Is he going to get his queen to g3? Is there any trap involved in that? g5, bishop d6. There's no real trap involved in that, is there? If I played g5, I could stop that plan in its tracks and further. h5. I could stop the plan in its tracks with g5, but then the f5 square. What if... Okay, let's have the queen g3 on the board. I've got bishop f8 for the moment. g5 compromises f5 too much. I'm not sure the e5 break is available. Okay. So if the e5 break isn't available, does that mean tactically g5 is something to watch out for later, maybe? Around about here he's going to invoke me to play g5. And that's a better circumstance than before because the h5 pawn might be weak. After I push back and use the e5 square, h5 might be weak. So h5, g5. Bishop moves back, rook e5. The bishop can go on this diagonal. The f5 square would still be good. The f-file would be very good for targeting f6. If you imagine a bishop here, doubled rooks on the f-file, this could be really bad. Okay, I'm a bit stuck. g5 in this position. I need to see what he's doing. I need some insight into what white is doing. Let's just play this move. Not to get too far behind on the clock. If I tried this as I'm playing for g5, if he plays bishop h6, I don't mind a trade of bishops necessarily. Is g5 a concern? Yes, maybe. would he take? He'd probably drop back on this diagonal. It would be painful on that diagonal. Let's just make sure I can handle bishop c1 to b2. So g5, he takes, drops back, and hits the diagonal. If I can prepare that g5 with rook f8. The rook, in fact, is my worst placed piece. Bishop's essential there. Rook's important, potentially. This one's not doing anything on e8. So, in fact, preparing g5 might be something here. Rook f8 for g5. I've noticed there was this over-the-board game. My friend Alex was playing this like 10-hour game against the Grandmaster, who was very slowly preparing a pawn break, and played it when Alex was in time trouble. So not only the timing on the board, but the timing in terms of the clock position as well, to actually maximize the impact both psychologically and on the board of a strategic pawn break. So you just keep it in hand until it's ripe from many angles to play a strategic pawn break. So g5 is still on the cards here. I'm trying to just improve slightly the circumstances of g5. Maybe h6. Oh, he just takes queen d7. I'm not necessarily saying I should run my opponent out of time and then play g5, but actually maybe that is a good idea. Okay, but as well. But here, let's see. G5 is coming out of the question. Maybe around here it's possible. We're going to have a draw by repetition at this rate. G5 here. Let's go for it. Although the diagonal is really dangerous. Bishop g7. He's going to play e5 now. Nope, I thought he played e5. Okay, I've just dropped. No, I haven't dropped d6 just yet. h5 to give my king h7, otherwise he's got all these checks all the time. h4 for g3, h4 for g3, h4 for g3. I can exploit this pin much more powerfully with g3. I've noticed that in Leela chess games, she's preparing strategic pawn breaks, but I've seen it in a long 10-hour serious stuff. There's 2600 GM. It's like 11 hours of play, and there's this break, pawn break. This GM is slowly maneuvering, just checking. It's like putting my friend Alex through this 10-hour exam, and then plays it when Alex has only got like a few minutes left. It's increment time controls, but low on the main time control, so he ends up playing on increments against something which basically changes the structure of the position. So, and often you want to take stock if that happens. If a strategic pawn break happens, you've got to like reevaluate all the dynamic possibilities. So if you time that both in terms of the opponent's clock situation and also the exact configuration on the board, it can be very, very dangerous. If you just play that card straight away, it's not as dangerous. D5 I'd like, because it kind of weakens the dark squares. E4 looks like an aggressive pawn chain. Alright, D3 looks like a nice thing to aim for here, because often A3 is needed to stop this pesky knight maneuver. Now this knight means C6, bishop C7, H5, H4 is very tempting. I don't see the problem with that myself, to play for that at the moment. The knight, can be got rid of, unfortunately. I could try and stop that with G5, but then there's other targets, like the F knight is loose. Maybe I could just go for it here already with h5. Let's allow knight f4. Maybe I could take on b2. Okay, there is a problem with cd and knight b5 though. Am I taking a gigantic risk here with my king in the center? Yeah, this is possible that this is quite risky. cd knight b5. Okay, can I make it a pawn sack for a moment? So dc bc just to stop knight b5. Rook c8, hg, queen d7, bishop h3, that sort of thing. Oh, maybe there's knight e4 here. Knight e4, queen d3, knight g3, holds the bishop, hits the queen. Knight moves rook c8. No, there's a queen c6 as well, though. Oh, don't tell me queen c6. You know what? I think queen c6 was strong because of queen e4. Was that just totally winning? I think I might have been pretty risky there. I think queen c6, queen e4 might have been winning because I'm going to have to look at that in a moment. I think that might have been totally winning. I think I've overestimated the position. Alright, so if I've been let off, that's nice. Bishop g6. Still c6 is an issue. Yeah, I think I underestimated. Because there was no queen e7 because of queen e8. Yeah, you shouldn't leave the king in the center, basically. It's asking for trouble. King in the center is asking for trouble. I never learned that lesson. I don't know. I never learned that lesson. I always think, I'm always tempted sometimes, not always, but active operations before the king has castle. But he did stop me castling. I can castle here to protect the knights as well. Knight b5, queen e4. No, hold on. What about just rook d8? Because this is a nasty pin. If I play rook d8 instead. No, I think what I did was very naughty. We're going to see after that anyway. But my prospects, I think, here are much better than on the queen c6. HG, bishop e4, threatened rook h1, checkmate. Except he takes there. Let's have a look at that again. HG, bishop e4. Even if knight e4, queen e4, rook e1, rook h1 is checkmate. So what does he actually do there? I mean, that's dangerous. HG bishop e4 is dangerous even with my king in the center. Threatening rook h1 or knight e4, queen e4, threatening rook h1. The pawn's pins still. Threatening rook h1. I mean, that looks as though it's winning if I get that position. I think I might have been miscalculating actually. Queen c6 earlier would actually the bishop would have to drop back to. Okay, I have to look at that as high priority here after the game. I think it was winning. Does anyone on the chat think it was winning earlier? I think White missed the win. I think bishop e4 here looks very convincing because of rook h1, knight e4, rook queen e1, threatening rook h1. So rook e2, rook h1. This is very naughty to be playing an attack with my king in the center now, but earlier I think it was execution of my king. All right, let's have a look at this. Thanks, Kazo. I think you might have missed something there. Let's have a look. I was overconfident here, I think. After this, I was a bit confident. Hang on. It says already white is much better after bishop a3. Technically, it says white is much better. White is slightly better now. Okay, slightly better. What was I supposed to do? I'm surprised by that already. Okay. So bishop a3, white's slightly better anyway. Okay, because there's a prospect of f3. Okay. Bishop a3, now white is much better after cd. So I play this. White is winning, +5. I play this. Knight e4 is the strongest move in this position. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, this looked like a horror show. Because of c6. It did look like a horror show. And it is a horror show. The reason why it looked like a horror show is because it is a horror show. The queen and bishop. If there's queen d7, I just end up losing. Oh man. Oh man. If basically, the problem is, there's still this crisscross here. Queen takes e4 is a horror show. Just taking the knights is like +8.8. There's a threat of bishop c6 and queen e4. That's why rook c8 is important to stop bishop c6, for example. Just to put this horror show on the board. Mate in 2. So let that be a lesson to you all. Try and castle before active operations. But I was tempted by knight d3. Even at that point, it was too late. It was technically too late. Even at this point in the game, this is like losing for black technically after knight d3 because the bishop a3 stopping the king castle. Oh well. Okay. Hi, Grieve. So this looks like a reasonable position to start off with. I hope. Try and play on the queen side. I could play bishop e4. I'm running into d5, d4, that kind of trap in reverse that I mentioned earlier. If I play like this with b4, I think it would be more handy. b4, I just want to make sure this doesn't lose tactically. Can I get away with this though? I'm hoping I can get away with this in this particular configuration. I'm aware that d5, d4 is going to be potentially nasty. Queen d2 is possible because there's no knight b3 here. Queen d2 is possible. And maybe f4 looks possible. Plausible. BC looks one of the strategic motives I think in the English Open is to create a majority of pawns in the center. So BC like takes, closes in the bishop. This looks interesting. Rook b7, ef, and fg. I get a pawn majority in the center. Here I can close up the bishop with e5. Although I'm weakening my light squares, so bishop g2, king g2, queen b7 is quite a price. I'm losing the exchange there, king h2, knight f3. That's quite a price to be paid. If I played rook f2, rook f1, I can prepare that. No, I can't. Yeah, I can, maybe. Okay, so rook f2 then. Try and control this f3 square a bit more before ef, bishop g2, king takes, rook f1, check, queen b7, king h2, holding f3. Oh, d3 is weak now. Am I too late? Knight b3, queen c2, queen d3 hits the bishop. Oh, I don't like that. Okay, I don't want to lose on time either, particularly. I'll play a4 for a moment, I guess. So I'm a whole minute down now. That's just great. So there's no rook f1 because of knight b3. Queen moves, queen d3, hitting the bishop. Oh. Hang on. Have we got bishop c5? Can shut down that bishop now. And then it's got that diagonal after, so maybe that's not a good idea. What about e5 straight off the bat? Oh no, just blundered the piece. And that was really dumb, to blunder a piece. He's giving me a pawn. A5, A6, this sort of thing. Maybe. Try and make the most out of my pawn here. Get the knight back in. Oh, rook a7, I see. Okay. So that seems pretty hopeless. Try and use the king. rid of this guy. I'm protecting f4 for a moment. There's a problem here. If we move the bishop, alright, maybe e6 is dangerous. And then rook c8 for rook g8. I don't want his rooks combining forces. e6 for rook c8. Alright, I get mated though, that's the problem. Check. Oh, I've only got 30 seconds now. d8 threats. King f6, rook c8 hits f8, and queen is useful. Can I get this out of there? Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry, blundered a piece. Very dangerous opponent. I blundered a piece. Just try to create some problems. That's what you can do sometimes. Just create some problems as well, especially in Blitz. You can create problems. If one can create problems, it was not good. What can I say? My brain's slightly fried. I did look at 2 leader games today. Sorry, I shouldn't analyze any games on the day of playing, and I thought I'd be okay analyzing 2 games. But I ended up finding some theoretical novelty in the rule of Pez, which hasn't been seen for hundreds of years. So it was a bit more analysis than I expected to do. But yeah, on the day of playing, I don't think it's good to do some theoretical research work. Basically, let's try this position again. So another d4 nightmare is trying to be created here. This d4 nightmare bind. Very classic recipe against the English opening. Very classic. The classic torture method. Very good. But as I say, one of the goals is to try and cause something like DC to get a majority of pawns in the centre. So this plan, although it looks as though it's wet lettuce, it has a strategic goal of trying to create a majority of pawns in the centre. I mean, there's something I read in these introduction books on the English opening. That's one of the strategic goals. Okay, but if I'm not losing all the pawns here, like b4, so c5. Do I end up losing all my pawns? You can take here, you can lose his dark square bishop, you can win a pawn, but I'll probably lose his king after. c5 is a way of trying to get a majority of pawns in the centre, if I can get away with it. If I can get away with this. Major strategic goal, pawn, flowing mobile pawn centre. You can be tempted to try and win a pawn. I'm not convinced this is necessarily great for black to try and win a pawn like that. If I played f4 and again try to lock out the bishop, maybe. Yeah, I'm tempted. Knight f5, bishop f2. What's the big deal? I'm going to lose d3 again. Oh no, c6 is hanging after. Let's just get this out of the way. So knight e2, queen d3 takes, and take on c6. This is out of the way of knight f5 as well. What about g4, knight g3, or knight e4 here? Knight e4, knight e2, queen d3. Is bishop e4 any good? Bishop e4. If I don't particularly want to lose d3 in a hurry, bishop e4 might be something. Knight e4, knight d4 after bishop e4, knight f3 check. Bishop e4 is, hang on, let's look at that again. Knight e2, knight. There's no knight d4 there. Maybe this is okay. Nope, h3 drops. What about knight d4? Knight d4, knight e4. This looks safe enough. Knight e4. The knight's shielding d3 for a moment. Rook c1, c6, at some point, rook c6, knight f6 would win the queen, but the knight's holding c6 as well. But rook c1, c6 is an idea springing to mind at the moment for knight f6 and bishop c6, if the knight wasn't on d4. Knight g5. Knight g5 looks dangerous. If I ever take and then queen b3 check, you can take and then queen b7 or queen c6. There's a nasty pin there. Do I have a chance for bishop d4, queen b3 check? Or the knight's on g5, that would be nice. Say check, king h2. I play bishop d4 here, hg, queen check. Bishop d4 here. HG. You know what? I think I've got a pass pawn there. Even if I lose d3, I think I've got a pass pawn compensation. HG, say bishop moves, queen d3. I have locked out that bishop. I've got this pass pawn, I think. I hope. Of course, I've locked out the bishop though. I'm trying to do this locking out the bishop business at great cost sometimes, clearly. Technically, the bishop can use this diagonal though, bishop f8 to c5. It's not really locked out long term. Right, this g-file could be handy to me. So king takes, I've got rook g1 after, king h7. c6, he's not going to exploit that pin in a hurry. This one, I can sort of, rook c2 as though rook g1, rook g2 is also on the cards. Oh! Let's pin that bishop in advance. That's nasty. So bishop h6. Okay, not too many options which are palatable here. Bishop b6 coming up. Bishop's a liability. King f5, rook g1, king e6. b3 is going to sway the balance. Try and take a pawn out. Uh-oh. Okay, there's trouble here. Okay, my king's not got that many opportunities here. Nearly in mating that check over here. Oh, I mean, I've had it. Yeah, rook g4 is mating. Yep. Oh wow. Okay, well played. Oh, I think I might have missed something. I shouldn't allow g5. I think, you know, when g5 happened, this position, I think rook g1, but have a quick look at this. Rook g1 here. I suspect liberate that bishop will play to liberate the bishop, but hold on a sec. It should be about equal with, what does it think of rook g1? But okay, it was already a tough position. Well played. Okay. So I'll take some water. It's pretty hot today. Not as hot as 3 days ago. Temperature records being set in the UK. Great gift. This looks dangerous. I'm not sure how it goes necessarily after rook e8. Oh, maybe badly. Check, check, queen h8, mating. This doesn't look appetizing. f6, g6, holds f7, escape square. Yeah, this is a classic Greek gift. Yeah, you got to watch out for the Greek gift. Got to watch out for that. Thanks, Ektal. Be careful about the h7. It was all missed. So here, I think the d4 torture plans we've seen in previous games are like torture, but here I think it's okay for white. It's more comfortable territory, i.e. not being placed on the torture rack so much. I think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but you know, this looks okay. Let's grab the space. So it's sort of like Fianchetto King's Indian territory now. Transposition to the Fianchetto King's Indian territory. I expect black shouldn't give up the light square bishop, because anytime f5, f4 is all the light squares are just waiting for the bishop without a counterpart now. So it makes any f5, f4 potentially more less effective. Because statistically there's a lot of pawns on dark squares anyway. So, okay, let's see here. Bishop e3, f4. I mean, h4 could threaten h5 as well as support bishop h3 as well. h4 here. I think it's okay to do this. There's no counterpart. It's quite rare, I think, to have this kind of scenario. There's no counterpart. Taking on here gives the e5 square in that diagonal, activating the bishop. Maybe queen g4, just keep things on light squares. h5, queen h3, fg. This is an inconvenience. The important thing here, I think, is to keep the bishop closed in. And she's stopping knight d7 here. Maybe bishop d2 arms for stopping that. Oh, I made a mental note of that. Okay, thanks to the game, as I missed. Yeah, the light squares, I don't know. They say when you play the King's Indian without light square bishop, it loses some attacking potential sometimes. Oh, we're running out of challenges today. Hey, if you want to challenge me, please do challenge me today. As you can see, I'm very beatable. So I've lost one game technically, but I'm losing another. So welcome all challenges. If you put them in the pipeline, that'd be most welcome. Okay, so I'm taking away from the centre to try and control d5 a bit. I've seen this before, trying to control d5 a bit more. Often you want to capture towards the centre, but here there is a special significance here, I think. Try and keep control of d5 a bit more. Downsides, black can sometimes blockade against c4, like later torture c4. Things like b6, bishop a6, knight a5, that sort of thing, or here, and then b6, knight a5. c4 can be tortured, sure, and a5 and stuff. It can be torture. It is my turn here. I should move. Yeah, okay. Maybe it will be torture in this game. On c4. It's queen d7, king h2 to hold h3, which means actually f4, f5 is more effective because it would be trapping the bishop. f4, f5 would be trapping the bishop there. I guess black replies with f5 here, though, just in time. f5. I could take it then g4 though, for f5. Try and stretch out. I think this will open up the bishop. Of course, the f5 pawn might be a bit vulnerable to undermining later or something. With the dark square bishop, though, the f5 is less painful than usual because that dark square bishop is covering things like g5. So this stretching out seems a little bit more justified to me in this particular configuration. In fact, knight g3 looks tasty here. So maybe this bishop is looking happier on c1. So knight h5 starts to look at this little pawn chain, which Leela Chess is keen on destroying little pawn chains around the king. I've noticed recently in multi-game examples. So knight h5, bishop e3, queen d2 for bishop h6 would be good to try and threaten things like queen g7 mate. Knight h5 is a restrictive move anyway because it stops knight f6. Because then taking and bishop takes h6. So let's see here. I forgot about that though. Muppets. It'd be good if I could actually pay attention a little bit more to the details of the position. The details of the position, rather than lose f5 now as well. That'd be great. If I could just be a little bit more detail conscious. Okay. Okay, I'm a pawn down, but this looks as though the bishops are okay here, being a pawn down. I might be wrong. This queen f3, I'm thinking like to invade with queen d5. It's not really an invasion, is it? Okay, it's not convincing. I'm held to h5. My queen's been held to account to h5. h5 could drop off next. e4, queen e2, queen e8. h5 would drop off next. Like around here, great. Okay, I better start doing something quickly. It's not looking happy. Oh, he could exchange off the queens now. I'm wondering if I've got some potential after the queens come off to do something. I'm not entirely sure what. A4, maybe a4, b5 here is interesting. Oh, there's g4, that's nasty. Okay. Okay, a4 here though, I think might be useful, just to take and then bishop c4. It gives me a passed b pawn potentially. Unless I'm totally misevaluating this. b5. Oh, there's knight c1. I can sack and then queening over here. Like so, bishop moves somewhere. Say d5, a2. I take b6. Knights come back in time. Alright, okay. Oh, there was bishop b1. What did I think about bishop b1? It's difficult with 5 seconds to play this, I think. Except I managed to lose my central bishop like a muppet. Okay, thanks very much. No, well played, well played. Oh, okay. See, I'm totally beatable today, so send on challenges. I'm just there. Take my rating points. Steal my rating points. No, take them. They're on offer today. Okay. Oh, crikey. What am I thinking? Knight h5. I'm not even seeing anything. Okay, like bishop h5. It's like black's better already after that. This looks somehow too dangerous for the black king. That pawn wedge there. Now, I could be, of course, totally wrong about this, but in one aspect, queen h5, g6, queen h6. If black took the pawn here, there's bishop g5 and bishop f6, potentially. On the other hand, the bishop there is relevant for this diagonal and holding f6. So maybe even f6 there is possible. So, on the other hand, I could avoid this by playing knight e4 with similar intents, but without the hassle of this bishop to the rescue on the diagonal. So I'm wondering queen h5 now, bishop g5. If, yeah, this looks dangerous. If g6, c4, I can nudge the knight away from f6, knight moves, then knight f6 check. So g6, c4 for knight f6. Bishop moves back, queen h5. Queen h5 here, g6. c4 first. Queen h6, queen e5. Knight g5, queen g7. Defending everything. If I played c4 though, it seems a general useful attacking move. There might be knight f6. Takes queen h5, f5, bishop h6 threatening queen g5. That's different though. Hang on, queen h5, g6, there's knight f6 now without any knight f6. So queen h5 is possible, g6, knight f6 is winning. Surely. I can play f4 here or knight g5. If I played knight g5, h6, knight f7, holds e5 against either capture. Rook f7, bishop g6. That looks tasty. I'll go with that. So I'm threatening mates. h6, knight f7, holds e5. Rook f7, bishop g6. Think of a rook left here like this. Rook a3. I did bring the rook. Maybe later when the bishop moves away. Well, now here, taking queen g6 is... No, taking... Okay. There is knight g... No, there isn't knight g5. Is there? I think there is knight g5. On queen e5, there's check, king h8, and knight f7 check, rook f7, queen takes e5. So knight g5, hg, there's check, and then mating on h7. But here, I think I'm winning the queen with bishop h7, and then knight f7, and then queen e5. So I'm rescuing the knight for a moment. It was tempting to play knight h6 as well. That might have been the much stronger move, just to take on h6. Why not just play that? This is setting a naughty trap, basically, which was unnecessary to do. I think I could have just... We'll see. We'll see after. Right, c5 threatens queen e4 check to win the bishop. Alright, I'll take that bishop. Two bishops for a rook is nice. I'll hold. Let me take on f1. Take with the rook. Knight d5 to e, taking e3 is useful. Knight d5, I've got to be careful about knight e3. To be able to take with the queen rather than lose everything. Get checkmated would be good. Okay. Play check. And e3. Stop knight b4 maybe. Bishop d4 coming up. Or bishop d2. Why not bishop d2 out of harm's way for a moment? Right, there's still no rook f2, thankfully. Double attack again against a4 and e5. This knight g4 business, I think it's okay. I can play queen e2. That's the bishop up. Hold against things with bishop d6. Zugzwang coming up. Thanks for the game, Ivan. Okay, Kremlik students. Hi. Try this. Keep things closed. I'm thinking h5 for bishop h6. Just trying to accelerate my knight still being on g8 here because strategic imperative to exchange off the dark square bishop. When the pawns are all on light squares, it's nice to be able to do that. So one question here is f5, f4 might be desirable for pass pawn potential in the endgame. He could take on f5 and I've got some sort of g file, so let's play this. I can do this more freely without this bishop hanging around as a bad bishop. Right, that is a tactical concern. Knight f7, trying to get the knight away from the firing line. E4, queen f6 would be desirable, I think, as long as f5 isn't an issue. You could test f5 being an issue here. We're taking. Alright, it hasn't been tested such. So queen f6 without a frontal attack on f5. This is sacking a piece here with knight e4. I'm not sure the knight sack is that convincing here. So what am I doing here though? Rook e8, the h pawn's liability h4. Try and get form pawn later, thorn with h3 maybe. So rook e8, rook e7 gives some flexibility for rook g7 and rook h7. As well as rook e8, the rooks have flexibility on the e and h files, g files. Is h4 desirable? It's got a blockade square on e3, likely one to e3, hitting f5. Right, what's happening here? What's happening here? Using the blockade spell for the other knight to hit f5. Alright. King a bit away from the action. Where can this knight go? I think I need to just move it out of the way. Hang on, there's queen a4. What is he doing? Let's stop this queen a4 knight b5 concept in its tracks. So 98. Does he play b4? b5 is winning for me almost, except the rook's protecting me too, so it's not. I just had a thought that rook b7 would be dangerous, but the rook on e2 is holding that, and I'm sure he wants to play b4 himself, because my knights are not happy about this position, I think. You know what, the quicker I play b5 to get the rooks on the b file. Do I wait for b4? Now b4 I just take on c3. b5 takes, knight b5, queen b5, rook b7, queen moves. How would I double the rooks in that scenario? My queen's kind of tied down to f5. What about this form pawn? Put the form pawn in for a sec. I'm not sure about knight b5 being desirable. Weaken d5. So can I do this? I'm hoping this isn't desirable. So maybe b5. Alright. b5 roundabout here. bc for rook b4. What does knight b5 here? What's going on? Who's using the b file here? I know there's some excitement after rook c1, as though the break, there was some excitement about the pawn break. I mean, this is the thing in chess, you've got to be careful about your pawn breaks, not being too excited about them. Prepare them the right conditions. So if I double the rooks here for knight c3, that looks quite dangerous. Knight a4, knight a3. Oh, hold on a sec. He's got queen c7. No, rook b7, rook here b7. Well, there's knight c3 here. Oh, he's got rook. Oh, he's got knight b2. Very good. He's got knight b2. So have I actually achieved anything? Oh no, maybe I haven't. Queen d4 puts the pressure on. Knight b5, rook b5. Queen d4 puts a lot of pressure on. So the knight, I don't want the knight holding the rook. Go away, knight. I don't want you holding the rook on b2. Go away. Knight b5, rook b5, queen c7, rook 8 to b7. Knight a3, knight c3, rook b2. Queen a4, knight c3, rook c3, queen c3. Oh. Oh, okay. I'll take this guy. I've got to catch up on the clock as well. I'll take this guy. My centre pawn should flood through here. Take the queens off, connected centre pawns. Uh-oh. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I think a lot revolves around the pawn breaks. A lot revolves around the excitement of the pawn breaks, not being too excited around them. Trying to maximise when they're played. Thanks. Okay. E5, very provocative. What's going on here? Queen G4, I want to try and tap into this immediately, this G7. I can try and castle queenside with bishop G5, castle queenside. Any H6, there's bishop F6. I'm getting a few pins. D pawn, knight pinned. What do I do with that position? Just keep the pin pressure for a moment. Knight H3, maybe knight F4 for G6 with bishop D3 in mind. So say bishop G6, knight G6, knight bishop E7, checkmating the queen. Could be a goal, but E5 is a problem here, or is it? Is there bishop F6? I think I can let him take that. C5 might be interesting. Am I still connected? Hi, am I still connected? What's going on here? It says opponents. Has he got a bad connection? Hi, on stream. I hope I'm still connected. Am I? Right, C5 for bishop B5 looks dangerous. To threaten bishop C6, bishop C6. Maybe not a big deal at the moment. So I'll carry on with this plan. Bishop D3, knight G6, or bishop G6, knight G6, rook H7. It's got rook H7 there. All right, there's maybe C5 for bishop E5 is good. I can. Okay, let's see that position. Hold on a sec. Hang on. There's bishop G6 and knight E6 checkmating the queen. So bishop G6, Fg, knight E6, checkmating the queen. No, I just wanted to make sure my connection was okay. And I was just checking connection because it says opponent disconnected all the time at the moment. A bit worried. So I want to play bishop D3, bishop takes to weaken E6, and then knight takes E6 to exploit the pin. I won on time there. Okay. I think it was a nice position anyway, this position. Let's have a look at it. I think it's a good position. Well, it says white's winning anyway. So say here, does it agree with my little plan? Bishop D3. Oh, there is knight E5, but say he didn't do anything. I'm looking at this possibility. Knight E6. Does he get too many pieces? According to the engineer, he'll get too many pieces there. It's only a slight advantage for white. Okay, there's other ways of playing it more calm. Oh, there's bishop F6. Here. Black's not doing much. What is white's plan anyway? Okay, it's difficult to tell immediately an immediate plan. Cobra. Hi, Cobra. I was thinking it's Sveshnikov, but now I'm thinking knight off. Quick e5 here. Quick d5 next. Well, it's not a hack attack position necessarily now. The knight c5 is a pain, isn't it? I'm playing bishop c8 or something. It's not exactly a great advert for what I've played. Don't really want to give up the knight square bishop. Right, hold d8 with the knight, so knight c5. It's still possible to play bishop c8, but maybe just taking on c5 is better. Giving up the dark square bishop maybe is not as bad as giving up the light square bishop. I'm thinking because there might be a reason. No, I can't. I'm having trouble justifying this. Knight c5, if I took, he has got the bishop pair and it's approaching the endgame. He's got a 3-2 pawn majority. This seems logical anyway, rook c8. My pawn majority is over here. It's going to be difficult to realise. So a tactic here, knight b4. What does he do to that? Knight e6. Okay, so if I took and then f6 and king f7, yeah, I think I'll go with this. As long as there's no major entry point on the d file. Add some solidity to e5. I'm aware I've got this pawn majority to somehow make use of. And he's got the pawn majority here to try and parry. He's got the bishop pair. This could be immune because of g6 trapping the bishop, potentially. So I could test the d file. Or not. So I can test the d file. I think the pawn majority here somehow can I get it ready? Can I get it more ready for the endgame? h4, g5. Just try and make it a little bit more ready. Right, g5 stops f4 anyway. I can fix down. Probably a good idea. Probably. The knight might have f4 later. Stopping all the pawn breaks, locking them down. Like Adams, known as the Spider, he does that in endgames. Michael Adams, Britain's top grandmaster, fixes down pawns towards endgames. But here, okay, I'm playing against the bishop pair. It might not be that straightforward to do much. The knight can reroute to f4 via d8. Knight d4 here changes things, and I lose b7. Oh, this is a lot of pressure. Can I play knight a5, b4, knight c4 for... I'll try knight a5. Oh no, I'm not convinced. Oh no, not convinced by anything now. I'm nudging the bishop. Hold on. No, then he takes and then bishop b6. If I take and then avoid that liability, so take and then knight a5. Let's take and then knight a5. Then maybe b5 to get rid of this liability on b7 for knight c4. Alright, knight c4 around here. Bishop b7, rook b8. I can still play rook b8 for rook b2 coming up, so in other words, can I not just do this f5? The king ends up there on c1. Let's see. And he's got a6 as well. This might have been a silly idea. And he's got a6 as well. Why did I do that? Let's just get out of this issue. Or not. Okay. Okay, rook b8 might be appropriate here because of b4 potential. Okay, if I take in then king e6, he hasn't got the bishop pair anymore. They do a lot of damage. Try and get this past pawn potential going. Or is it just the weak pawn? Yeah. Rook d2 would seem interesting. Rook d2 seems very interesting. So I take. Take on g2 here. Check. And take another pawn. Protect. Take another pawn over here. I think Mike's losing all the pawns. Where have all the pawns gone? All the pawns are going. Right, thanks, Cobra. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this week. If you found it fun, 1 fun, 10 boring. So found it fun 1, nearly fun like 2, you know, until 10 boring. Okay. Yeah, have a good rest of Sunday. And yeah, see you next week. Thanks very much. Okay. Check out the Leela chess games on my channel. They're pretty cool and instructive. Neural networks are taking over. Going to revolutionize chess analysis. Grandmasters will start playing these weird ideas. You'll see it. I've said it here. The whole of chess is about to change in the next few weeks and months. It's changing rapidly. It's a new revolution. Anyway, see you next week. Thanks so much.